everybody. And the topic I chose to go with was how underfunded Eastern Kentucky is. I chose this topic because I grew up in a very low income part of the state and I've watched people struggle daily through most of my childhood due to how underfunded Eastern Kentucky is as a whole. With the shortages of jobs, housing, and public funding, it is hard to become financially stable, resulting in most small businesses having to close, people having to relocate to find adequate housing and jobs. The first problem topic I want to talk about was the coal industry and how it is rapidly declining. Coal mining provided thousands of jobs for Eastern Kentucky residents and generated tax revenue for the cities. Coal has always been a backbone for providing financial stability for Eastern Kentucky, and with it being eliminated, there's been a rapid decline in the quality of life. One article I found supporting this was in Coal's Dying Light, The Decline of Coal by Belzer. It said generations of Americans relied on the coal mine in Kentucky to forge the steel, heat the furnaces, and power the homes of this country. The nation's reliance on coal, however, is coming to an end, and the communities that once produced it are struggling to adapt. Nearly 15 million Americans live in energy communities impacted by coal mines and power plant closures, according to an LPM News analysis. Nearly 3/4 of them make less than a national median household income. Another article I found supporting this was Hurting Kentucky in communities across the country. It said among all workers who were younger than 55 when they were separated from a coal job in Kentucky between 2007 and 2017, 37% never went on to hold covered employment in Kentucky again. Among the subset of those who did, evidence supports that their eventual employment was commonly sporadic or otherwise not sustained. Using 1, 3, or 5 years post-separation as horizons for measuring employment outcomes, only 28% of former coal mining workers who went on to obtain future employment in Kentucky were employed at all 3 horizons. Another 26% were working at a minimum of 1 horizon, but were not working at all horizons. The remaining workers held covered employment at some point after the separation from the coal industry, but not at any of the aforementioned horizons. My solution to this problem would be further to be more push to help provide the coal miners that lost their jobs with an adequate paying job or some kind of support system to be put in place to help them while they're looking for a job. The second topic I would like to talk about was the housing crisis in Eastern Kentucky. Eastern Kentucky is facing a severe housing crisis due to the rising market costs, shortages, living conditions, and climate risks. An article I found to support this was in Eastern Kentucky flood housing crisis. It said the flooding was particularly devastating for housing even prior to the floods. We're at a housing crisis, said Scott McReynolds, executive director of the Perry County-based Housing Development Alliance. He estimated that at least 40% of the population was already inadequately housed, including living in places not designed for human habitation and living in substandard housing. The July floods destroyed 393 homes, made 8,304 uninhabited without repairs, and damaged 13,833 houses, according to Eric Dixon with the Ohio River Valley Institution. In the hardest hit counties, more than 1 in 7 homes took on at least 1 inch of water. McReynolds put the estimated cost for housing needs from the floods at $600 million. That was by Bailey. Another article I found supporting this was in Tackling Kentucky's Housing Crisis, Insights from the 2025 Task Force Report. Said in 2024, the Kentucky Housing Corporation Housing Gap Analysis reported a statewide deficit of more than 200,000 housing units to meet current needs for both rental and home ownership options. My solution to these problems would be for there to be more government funding geared towards disaster relief programs to help flood victims, to also help other victims from natural disasters such as mudslides, and for there to be another support system put in place to provide adequate housing for low-income families that cannot afford it.